Right, well, we have some latecomers coming in. Can we all just turn those sheets over so that we're not tempted to look at them while Judy's talking? And there will be a moment of revelation, I'm sure, partway through when suddenly we launch into the data. Okay, folks. Before I introduce Judy, and thank you very much for coming down, just a quick reminder that there are two things on the agenda for the Linguistic Society. On the 18th of April, we're planning a trip to London to look at Parliament, look at the BBC, and look at the British Library. It's going to be around about £45 to get there. So if you're interested in that, please sign up with me as soon as possible so that we know whether that will happen or not. And in March, on March the 8th, I think from memory, we've got Professor Richard Coates coming down from UWE, University of West of England at Bristol, to talk about linguistics at university, and he's a historical linguistics specialist in place name etymology. That means anything to you. So come on, that one. Thank you very much to Julie, who's come down to speak to us today. Unique opportunity, I think, to hear something in advance that she's going to be presenting nationally very soon. So a real insight into linguistics at work. And Julie's going to talk about language and gender. An expert on language, former teacher, now writer and researcher on language. So, Julie, all yours.
Thanks, and hi to the people who I met before. Okay, what I'm going to talk to you about this morning is this question. Does Corpus Linguistics have anything useful to tell us about language and gender? And I know from talking to Mark an idea of what that might mean, and some of you haven't. Can you just show me how you've got an idea roughly of what Corpus Linguistics might be? And I'll try not to peer over the top of my glasses like some strange person. No, okay, well, what Corpus Linguistics is about is, well, it's two words. Linguistics, you know that stuff. A corpus is a body of language. We're talking about language. It's a body. And the idea behind this is that in order to understand how language works, we need to look at a lot of it. Rather than looking at 2 or 3 examples, or 10 examples, or 20 examples, and trying to say something that's generalisable about language, we actually need to look at a really massive sample of language, like millions of words. One of the corpora, which is a plural of corpus, that I'm going to show you today, it has got 100 million words in it. So we want to find out about something meaningful about language, we need to look at that kind of body of data. And only then can we really start to make meaningful deductions. And corpus linguistics is, relatively speaking, a newer area of linguistics. And the reason for that is because although people had the idea about corpus linguistics earlier on in the 20th century, it wasn't really until that there were sufficient technological advances, phenomenal processing power, can go through 100 million words and tell me what happened.
When Ashley went in, she started saying babe or something like that. And they did a count of how many times it was said in the house, and it went up every day.
How do you know that? Was it on Big Brother, or was it reported in the newspaper?
It was in like the psychoanalysis bit.
Right.
Big Brother's Big Brain.
You didn't tape it, did you?
No.
Oh, we need that bit. It'd be really good to go with it.
It might be on the Channel 4 website.
Yeah, find it on YouTube. I'm going to find it. Big Brother, and that was Babe.
I think it was what Babe.
It was Batman as well.
It's like,
right.
you know, chav is everywhere all over the country now. It used to be in Taunton, we call them mevs, and that was on chav, I think it's chav.com or something. It had mev of, you know, the specifically Taunton breed, but now we've kind of started to conform, and now it's chavs again.
Right, oh, that's a really interesting example of language change. Really interesting. But coming back to stud, any equals? No, only blokes. Sugar, males? No, either? Equally? Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I think you're at the cutting edge of language change. You've got to go and check all these words on the Oxford English Dictionary. I'm sorry,
Yes.
Marcus cheered again there. It's good. Every time I say OED, he goes, yes! Good. Sweetie, males? Either? Oh, goodness. Right, put your hands down. Females only? 2. Okay, that's easy to count.
You don't have Judy Preston, do you?
My favourite word. Males? Equally? 1, 2, 3. Okay, lovely. And wolf? What do you call males? Wolf? You're a wolf. Oh, I can't count all those. Would you call a woman a wolf?
If she was a bit butch looking, maybe.
Yeah. Right, so are we saying that everyone said male? Yeah, okay. Right, thank you for that. They're very interesting. Go and check them on them. Right, okay, so have a look at Janet Holmes then. Name.
Yeah.
All right, I'll tell you what we're going to do. So we've got the sort of sexual reference here. Oh, we've got one. We've got a name one. And what was the other one? Wolf cubs. So sort of animal group. All right, let's just subdivide them a bit. Okay, let's keep going. I never know the answers because it throws up 50 different ones every time. So I have no idea what's going to come up when I scroll the screen down. Let's scroll down a bit. Right, so we've got another male name there. Next one. Yeah, these are all. What's interesting, these references down here, she says walking right in front of the camera and screwing up the recording. These are all from the same source. So these are all this character called wolf. Right, so that's just the 50 that it's thrown up. So how many have we got that are male names? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more we can add in there. So let's scroll down to BNB. What have we got here? Yes, neutral. Yeah, that's the kind of the cub one, so it was specifically male.
And the next one's neutral too.
The next one's neutral?
Yeah.
Okay. The next one? This is, it makes it really easy to do percentages because you just double it.
Yeah.
If we looked at all 820, we would have needed our calculators. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 32, so that's
64.
Oh, good. And 2? 4%. Right, so what that does is, looking at those 50, it gives us an idea about how significant this issue is. And that's what I think that Corpus Linguistics can do in language and gender. And I've only had time to show you one worked example. When you look at textbook accounts of language and gender, they tend to assert that these things are significant. Ah, yes, well, the word wolf can be used with these positive connotations for male sexual prowess. Well, it's true. That word can be used in that way. But in relation to all of the ways in which the word wolf is used, is it that important? Is that particular meaning that significant in our language? So yes, the meaning exists, but is it used that frequently? And I think that that's one of the things that Corpus Linguistics can help us to find out, that earlier textbook accounts couldn't tell us. They could only tell us that that meaning existed. And it does exist. But whether or not it's significant is another matter. Now this one, the male reference of wolf, well, 34%. You'd have to decide what level of frequency counts as significant. But it's not as significant by some way as just the animal reference. That, in this corpus and this sample, is used the most. Okay. So that's a way of investigating. And what you could do is go on BNC and investigate these other words and see what finds out. Now, the limitation of this method that we've just used is that it does only look at 50, and there are ways of looking at all 820, but this free version here, there is another free version. I'll send a link to ARCHOS for anyone who's interested. There is another website that you can go on and it gives you all 820. You can do this